Important person in my life here. He's visiting for a couple of days. We do have a big race today, final race at Iowa State Fair Speedway. So he's going to come and crew chief for us. So you're going to be in charge here. You're going to oversee Jay and Jim and see what we can do tonight.
And you've experienced frustration before.
Yeah, occasionally.
Now, it's the thing that's really cool about having Dad here for our races is you folks have heard us talk many times. He was involved in motorsports at a very early age, and he was the crew chief, the one in charge at the racetrack for a lot of real big names. And we're going to go through some of them here. Once you run through, if we can go to the surface, we'll show you some of the people that he was crew chief for over the years. Now, this is the first one. We're showing you here. This is John Rostek, and the reason we're showing you him is because the guy who drove this car was my godfather.
That's right. And then I was with him from 60 to 64. And then the company I worked with had different plans for me after 64, so I had to leave him and go to another team. People
wondered why the truck has the number 9 on this side. Look at the design of the 9 there. Look at the design of the truck there. That look familiar? Yeah, look at his dad.
Makes it look like it's going fast.
Yeah, there's his dad's name on the side of the car as well, which is cool. And in the background of that picture, you see A.J. Foyt, and you had a chance to work with him too.
Yeah, we worked with him a couple of years too. In fact, we won a race in Riverside, California in 1970 with A.J. Foyt.
Parnelli Jones.
I worked with him for a few years, and we won a few races.
Bobby Unser.
Bobby Unser.
You know, Dan Gurney is another one that you were involved with, and Jack Bowser.
Right. And he was quite a character. Jack Bowser, he was as good a race driver, believe it or not, as A.J. Foyt. I hate to admit it. I mean, A.J. would probably get mad at me if he heard me say that. But Jack Bowser, you can put him up against
anybody,
any of these drivers.
And a recent Hall of Famer, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Freddie Lorenzen.
Yeah, without a doubt. I worked with him a little bit, and he was quite a good person, too. They're all good persons.
This was back when, again, motorsports was just getting going and in its growing states. And at the same time that he's doing this, you guys, if that wasn't enough work for Big Lou, he had something else going on too. Is he had some kids that were driving around the country performing stunt shows. And that picture there is from Milwaukee, and you got an award there as was the world's youngest daredevils. There's my brother Mike on the left, my little brother Sparky in the middle, and then yours truly trying to hide on the right-hand side there. But you were the manager of the Sipolt brothers, world's youngest professional daredevil. So he had a full-time job. He was the crew chief for Ford Motor Company for the stock car division, and then he was manager of the world's youngest professional daredevils all at the same time. And this guy was no stranger to cameras, one and all, including an appearance on the Mike Douglas show from years ago. Let's take a look.
I want you to meet the man who got them started in this field, Lou Sipolt Sr. Lou, welcome to the show. Meet Frankie Valli, my co-host. How did you get the boys started? And was it, of course, the oldest boy started first?
Right. A fellow by the name of Joey Chitwood is probably the most popular in the thrill show frame. Gave the boys their opportunity to appear with them in his thrill show in 1967. I guess going back a little further, the boys were born in automobile racing, just like I build race cars. And right now I'm
so they spent most of their time with you around the cars, and they grew to love them. Is that
exactly? It'll be like a circus kid around the circus, and the boys are.
Excuse me. What is this, Highway 66?
Yeah.
Is that not part of your family? That just
No.
So again, just a little clip from the Mike Douglas show.
Exactly the same.
I can't believe that you had that.
We just tracked that one down, but again, that's what he did. You guys think I'm busy. And
he's a dad.
Yeah.
You know.
And he's a dad.
Yeah.
You know, 5 kids too.
Yeah.
So again, an amazing series of accomplishments. And currently, he's still involved in motorsport. He still goes to a race shop every day and just checks in with everybody. They call him what, the mayor?
The mayor of the Mooresville Mile in Mooresville, North Carolina. I got to see what everybody's doing.
Right.
And
You
your
know,
friends will
they're doing it right.
A lot of the drivers, you're friends with some of the current crop of drivers that are out there in NASCAR. For example, who are some of your buddies?
Well, I mean, day to day with Brad Keselowski and I mean Joey Logano. I mean, they're passing by all the time. You know, and you can just go right down the roster.
It's a passion that you've had your entire life, and you still are part
That's
of
all
every
I've
single
ever
day.
done.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever done. And this is back, I was at the first Daytona race in 1959, changing tires for Tiger Tom Pistone. And that's a name that's been around for a while.
And speaking of names that have been around a while, we have a resident here of Des Moines that is a pretty big name around here, Jack Housby, who has been involved in the sport for a long, long time. You got to know Jack a long time ago.
Jack is probably one of the best supporters of our auto racing
Fraternity,
fraternity, I guess as you want to call it. And to this day, he's still involved with furnishing trucks for different teams. I think he furnishes a lot of the trucks for NASCAR and Indy cars, and he goes to every race. I've known Jack for over 50 years, and right now he's not feeling too good. I hope he's going to get better, but it's life, I guess.
Right.
All part of the sport.
Yeah.
And being part of the sport, you are in the Mecca. Dad lives in Kannapolis now in North Carolina. He spends most of his time in Kannapolis. We still have a couple homes in Chicago, but spends a lot of time there. So you are in the epicenter when it comes to racing. Everything that happens racing comes from around where you are right now.
Without a doubt.
A lot of viewers out there that know that. And over the past couple of years, you've been here 4 different times now since this show started. The first year was here. We at the end of the show, they look at him hanging out with somebody over at the fairgrounds, and it's amazing. He shows up, and then the ladies show up.
Come on now.
Okay, let's go back to Jackie. There's Jackie. Okay, but that was last year at the Iowa State Fair race that we came just this short of winning. So that's why we got to try to redeem ourselves tonight. But back in 2012, Dad was here, and we asked him. We said, well, you know, the championship in the Cup Series in NASCAR is going to be very highly contested. Who do you think is going to win the championship? And back in 2012, he says, you know what? It's going to be Brad Keselowski. Okay, and very kind of, what do you mean? And he answered it that fast because no, Brad's going to win. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Then in 2013, he came in, and your comments were, I don't think anybody can beat Jimmie Johnson. He's unbeatable.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Brad Keselowski won in 2012. Jimmie Johnson wins in 2013. Last year, when Dad was here, we said, okay, who's going to be the champion? Now, this one's a little better because you get to pick 4 guys, but one you were leaning toward more than any other. You go, Kevin Harvick. He's got everything going his way. Kevin Harvick is in the zone. Kevin Harvick is going to win the national championship. Who won the championship last year?
Kevin Harvick.
All right, so here we go. See if we can make it 4.
See, they got a new format for the last two years with this chase thing going on.
It comes down to a Final 4.
And it's down to the Final 4,
right,
to
so
the last race,
We need your Final 4. That's what we're here for. Your Final 4 for the championship this year.
No pressure.
You can take this to the bank, folks.
Well,
okay? Final 4. Who will they be?
You're going to have to include Kevin Harvick.
Okay, Harvick. Okay, so Harvick to repeat.
I would have to say Joey Logano
Joey?
had a better shot at it than Brad, because Brad's luck has changed. You got to have luck in auto racing. You got to have skill and everything.
A little bit of luck.
And you can't discount Jimmie Johnson.
Okay, Jimmie again. And you have one more. One more for the Final 4.
Gordon's not going to come out at the end?
That's going to be a tough one. That's really a tough one there.
One final one would be.
Who would you think?
I'm going off of your lead here. I'm going off of your lead here.
I wish I'd get some help. I wish Jack Housby was sitting next to me. He could give me a little clue.
Is there one you're leaning towards more than any others?
Well, I hate to admit, but I'd like to see Joey Logano win.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll circle Logano.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. There you go, folks. There's some of your picks for the championship this year and the NASCAR Sprint Cup. So we'll be right back, folks. We have a bunch of birthdays we need to take care of.